Good morning. I invite you to greet those around you and their inherent worth and dignity. We have a few announcements, but first I just want to be sure that I welcome you all. I will say if you are a newcomer to this place and want to learn more about Unitarian Universalism, make sure that the greeters have pointed out where the cards are to fill out, that we could learn more about you and get you on our mailing list. You can then begin to get emails or communications that will help you understand the many varied things we're doing. It also will help our membership team begin to build the next session for Introduction to Unitarian Universalism types of things. They call it starting point. And then eventually later in the year, we'll do a member orientation if you want to go deeper into learning about us and considering being an official member of UUTC. I do want to say as an announcement this morning, I am going on vacation. For some of you, it may be surprising that I haven't been on vacation quite so much, but we knew this year, especially this summer, with RK being away, that it was good for me to be around. And so I'm taking a week here or there, and then later in the year, I'll do some professional development and other things that I'd normally cram into summertime. So I'm going for a week, and I just told somebody in the lobby, I'm going up to the Cleveland area to spend time with my son and daughter-in-law in their 100-year-old home with a carload of tools, and they're going to give me an air mattress to sleep on the floor and feed me, and in exchange, I will help fix their flooring and their insulation, maybe an electrical issue, a plumbing issue, and maybe fix some cracks in their driveway, among other things. So they get a dad visit, and I get to enjoy something that's totally different from this right here. So you won't see me, but the Loving Hearts Care team is on standby if pastoral needs arise. 3:30 this afternoon, just a reminder, some of you already have it in your calendars, at St. Philip's Church, the speaker, Professor Craig Perry of Emory University, distinguished member of both the Department of Middle Eastern and South Asian Studies and the Tam Institute for Jewish Studies, is speaking, and his topic is the Living Sea Scrolls, New Histories of Jewish-Muslim Relations from the Middle Ages. It's going to draw from a whole bunch of breathtaking research that he's done. We help co-sponsor. UUTC is one of the partners in co-sponsoring this Jewish lecture series, and so that's at St. Philip's at 3:30. There's no charge. Go and enjoy. I also wanted to bring up that from time to time we have members who come forward to offer some of their skills in learning something, exploring in spirituality or religion. And so we are starting a new course, hopefully to launch with a free session on, I believe it's August 30th. Hilly Bernard is leading a course called The Art of Being, an 8-week course focusing on exploring the authentic self through an ongoing conversation. You can check the update, the weekly email newsletter, for more information on the cost. We may also have a flyer on the counter. I know some were made by Tricia. There is a discount for UUTC folks. This course is open to the wider community as well. Tell your friends. And if you're worried about finances, speak to me and we'll see what kind of arrangements we can make for you. Those were just a sample of the many things that go on in this congregation. I mean, it's wonderful to be in an active, loving place like UUTC. So glad that you are with us. And now we will turn to Scott and Karen for our prelude.
And we will give you one more announcement, and that is that Karen and I will be playing a concert, a week from Monday at Cedar Mountain Canteen. It's an informal gathering. They do potluck, but you don't need to feel obliged to bring something. You can just show up. We play 2 sets with a break for dinner in the middle, and it doesn't cost you anything. And from 6 until 8 p.m. That's next Monday at Cedar Mountain Canteen. 1.
That river of change is all around us, and we must do our separate parts to hold the love we have between us. We can mend our aching hearts. Today the world is not simple, and there's temptation all around, and there is greed and there is envy for us to bear as we walk around. That river of change is all around us, and we must do our separate parts to hold the love we have between us. We can mend our aching hearts. Now I've seen trials and tribulations, making all of us drift apart. Just keep your heart right on the current, and keep your hand right on my heart. That river of change is all around us, and we must do our separate parts to hold the love we share between us. We can mend our aching hearts. That river of change is all around us, and we must do our separate parts to hold the love we have between us. We can mend our aching hearts. We can mend our aching hearts.
Chalice lighting for today is by Eric Walter Wickstrom, adapted. It will be on the screen and it is in unison. When we light our chalice, everyone focuses on the flame. Yet it is the oil of the lamp, the cotton of the wick, the potassium chloride and sulfur of the match, and the oxygen in the air around us that makes that flame possible.
As a spiritual people, we are not called to be a lone beacon on a hill.
Rather, we are meant to work together so that we might together shine.
There you go. Thank you, Gypsy. We have our candles of joys and sorrows. We have some that have been written and placed here on the table at the front, one that I knew of ahead of time. I will note again, as I did last week, that the worship team will be considering at their next meeting whether this is an element that will remain in the order of service. Not that we're taking away the candles and the prayers, but rather to put it entirely into the prayer section instead of repeating them again in the prayers. You, as emotional beings, knowing the constancy of the way in which things have always been done, may in fact wish to talk about this among yourselves and then give feedback to those of us in worship leadership. I say that because I care about how you engage in this worship. Let's light a candle for Elizabeth Reschauer, whose recent birthday brings a new milestone, but also the realization that her declining eyesight and isolation as a shut-in in our congregation has made it difficult. She would love to know if someone would be willing to drive I will use ornery, she used a different word that I won't speak out loud, woman to come to church occasionally if someone would like to help drive Elizabeth from time to time. This is a candle of concern for Barbara, sister-in-law of David Alf, for her hospital stay. And this is a happy birthday wish. Wednesday is Don Lander's birthday, and thank you, Don, for all you do. There are two candles here from Loie. Loie says, to light a candle of gratitude for our Soul Matters group, which meets Fridays. And another candle, prayers for my friend since 4th grade, Dee Dee, who's recovering from a stroke. And I know that there are other things held in the hearts of folks here in this room and those who are online, not yet shared. Please listen to one another as we greet and meet, because by listening, we help share the burdens and the joys for one another. And this helps us weave this fabric of community of this Unitarian Universalist congregation. Thank you. We have another birthday to light a candle. Oh, yeah, Carter's birthday is coming up, but the celebration was yesterday. We'll light a candle for Carter. Wonderful. I'm sure there's some other birthdays in here that people had too. Light one more for the birthdays nobody's admitting. Thank you.
the opening words of Sharon Wiley. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. We speak so often of brokenness in religious life. Let us speak today of holiness. You are welcome here, all of you. Every part of you, beautiful just the way you are. Here you do not need to be something more or something less. No holding back, no hiding, no exerting yourself, no trying to do more to be more. You have inherent worth and dignity. Nothing to prove here. No exerting. Okay. Nothing to prove here. Nothing to prove me or the person sitting next to you or the children to anyone. You don't have to try and be witty or more quiet or more outgoing. You are beautiful. Every part of you, beautiful just the way you are. You do not need to change anything about yourself to be welcome here. Your skin, your hair, your belly, your limbs, your face, all beautiful just the way they are. You are extraordinary. Each and every one of you different from each and beautiful in your own beautiful way. Breathtaking. Let us worship together. The opening hymn is number 83, Winds to Be Still. It will be on the screen, I think. There we go.
Storm clouds pass and silence gone. Peace grace this time with harmony. Thy bird of hope and shine light of love and dawn let us life and bird fly high, lift our gaze toward distant view, help us to sense life's mystery. Fly high and far and lead us each to see light shining, illuminate our inward view, help us to see with clarity. Shine bright and true, as we may join our songs in the sounds that become full symphony.
So I'm doing the story for all ages. This one doesn't come with pictures. This is one of those times when you have to use your own imagination, which, as a Unitarian Universalist, I would say is probably better than having somebody tell you what all of this looks like. Yeah? All right. It's called Tiny the God by Becky Brooks, and this story is published in Sparks of Wonder by Becky Brooks and Erica Hewitt. Erica Hewitt is a worship arts leader for the Unitarian Universalist Association, and Becky worked on this. Once upon a time, there was a tiny little, itty bitty, very small, tiny little god named Tiny. She lived her life hearing stories of all the big gods. And well, let's face it, she was jealous. She knew she needed to think of some kind of special spark of an idea that would make her existence meaningful. And after watching humans for a long time, she hit upon something that just might work, something to make people think, yeah, that Tiny has a really good idea going. And this was it. This was going to make her famous. Ready? Here it is. You are not alone. There you go. She took the form of a very light breeze, and in a voice so quiet each person heard it only in their mind, she said, "You are not alone. You are not alone." People loved it. It was perfect because who doesn't want to hear that? Pretty soon, Tiny was comforting people all over with "You are not alone." Every evening, she took the form of a breeze and whispered it into people's minds, until one day she encountered someone who wasn't comforted at all. When Miriam heard Tiny's words in her mind, instead of feeling comforted, she felt agitated. Something was just kind of off about it. She kept saying it to herself over and over again. "You are not alone. You are not alone." And she tossed and turned. She couldn't sleep. In the morning, she went to read the paper, and instead of skimming everything, she found herself drinking in every single story. She was only halfway through when she found herself crying. "I am not alone," she said. "I am connected to every one of these people. They live in my town and in my country and in my world. They love their children like I love mine. They're scared sometimes, and so am I. They hurt like I hurt. I am not alone. I can help." Tiny was surprised. It hadn't occurred to her that someone may think of it that way. Tiny kept watch over Miriam to monitor this interesting development. Miriam and a coworker met online in a meeting and talked about a law they hoped the Senate would pass. And Tiny noticed when Miriam wrote a letter to her senator about it right away. And she noticed that when Miriam turned in her grocery order, she bought a few extra things for her neighbor, and she left them with a colorful note on their porch. She noticed that Miriam had tears in her eyes when she joined in her congregation's worship on her computer, and she heard her favorite hymn through the small speakers. Miriam got out her phone and made an extra donation to her congregation. I like they put that in the story. She watched as Miriam wrote postcards to friends and family near and far, waved to the dog walkers who passed by her house, and strung up colorful lights in her living room window. But most importantly for Tiny, she noticed when Miriam received a phone call one evening from a friend she hadn't heard from in a long while, his voice was shaking. "I'm having a hard time," he said. And he started telling her about his troubles. And he began to cry. And Miriam got herself comfortable in her favorite chair and said, "Take your time. I'll stay on the line with you. You are not alone. I am here." I am here. Tiny heard those words like an echo in her mind. You are not alone. I am here. You are not alone. I am here. Now go ahead. You say that too. You are not alone. I am here. Mhm. In that moment, Tiny knew that she was nothing without Miriam's hands and hearts and spirit. And she knew what she wanted, that what the world needed more than anything. So Tiny went to work. Pretty soon, she was spending every moment doing it. That's why there are no paintings of Tiny, no busts or holy books, just a breeze, a low voice, and many, many helping hands, loving hearts, and caring spirits. You can hear the echo if you listen closely. Go ahead, say it. You are not alone. I am here. And when water bottles are left in the desert for those who risk their lives to cross it, you are not alone. I am here. And at the bedside of a dying person, you are not alone. I am here. In the jailhouse and in the sanctuary, you are not alone. I am here. Separate and together. You are not alone. I am here. May it be so. I thank Becky Brooks for that story. Now, I said it in the middle of the story. I said it. It was so great. Oh, got to hear the music I love and, even watching on the screen. Yeah. And I want to give more to my congregation. And we are. We're about encouraging generosity. The whole "you are not alone" part means that when we pitch in together, it makes a huge difference in keeping this place going and keeping this place a valid, energized part of community. Like at 3:30 today, when you see the Jewish lecture going on, you know that they pull it off because we were part of it. Or when I was doing the NAACP Faith and Action team on Tuesday night, you know that we're represented in that group. You know that we're here. People know that they are not alone. We are here. Anything you put in the basket will help us in our congregation's mission. Anything you put in the special envelope for El Centro is a way in which we tell them, you are not alone, we are here. For at the end of the month, we'll have the full collection to give to their good work in this community. We will now gratefully receive the morning offering while we listen to Karen and Scott. Thank you, Loie. Thank you, Bruce. What's given in love we receive with great joy. Thank you. We're about to head into a time of prayer and meditation, and I can tell you the slight breeze from the air conditioning vents blowing the heat of these candles. The more that we share with one another in our prayers and our lifting up out loud, the warmer it gets right here. And the warmer it gets right here. I invite you into this time of prayer and meditation. Spirit of love and life, we are gathered here today, come from many different directions, from many different paths. To this place, though, to know that we are not alone. And to let others know, I am here, Spirit of love and life. This is, in fact, one of the greatest spiritual practices that we could have. To sit with one another, to be with one another, to help one another. May the love that we feel when we have this experience be multiplied in all that we do. Our hearts go out to those who may be unable to get out of their homes on a regular basis, those who feel connected to this congregation and yet may not find their way here. In particular, this morning, we are thinking of Elizabeth Reschauer. Let us remember as well those who are celebrating milestones and birthdays along the way, the wonder of each year passing and each year being a new possibility. For this morning in particular, we are thinking of Carter Haywood and Don Lander. And our prayers go for a wonderful year ahead for you and all who are celebrating. We know that there are concerns as well as time goes on, the ways in which we see among ourselves and our friends suffering in illness, and wanting to know that there are those who care and are thinking of us. Our care and concern this morning go out in particular for David Alf's sister-in-law Barbara in her hospital stay, and for Loie's friend Dee Dee recovering from stroke. May we hold these prayers, the prayers of our hearts, the meditations of our minds, in this moment of silence. In the names of all those known and unknown, remembered and forgotten, in the names of all the helpers of humankind, we say, Amen. Blessed be.
This song is written by Peter Mayer, who most of you know that he wrote Blue Boat Home, which is a favorite of ours, I know. This is also the first song that Karen and I ever sang here. It's called Holy Now. When I was a boy, each week, Sunday we would go to church, pay attention to the priest. He would read the holy word, consecrate the holy bread. Everyone would kneel and bow. Today the only difference is everything is holy now. Everything, everything is holy now. When I was in Sunday school, we would learn about the time Moses split the sea in two. Jesus made the water wine. I remember feeling sad. Miracles don't happen still. Now I can't keep track. Everything's a miracle. Everything's a miracle. Wine from water is not so small, but an even better magic trick is anything is here at all. So the challenging thing becomes not to look for miracles, but finding where there isn't one. When holy water was rare at best, it barely wet my fingertips. Now I have to hold my breath like I'm swimming in a sea of it. Used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a reverent air. So everything is holy now. Read a questioning child's face. Say it's not a testament. That'd be very hard to say. See another new morning come. Say it's not a sacrament. Tell you that it can't be done. This morning outside I stood, saw a little red-winged bird, shining like a burning bush, singing like a scripture verse. Made me want to bow my head. I remember when church let out, how things have changed since then. Everything is holy now. Used to be a world half there, heaven's second-rate hand-me-down, but I walk it with a reverent air. So everything is holy now.
Thank you, Scott and Karen. Thank you, John. Thank you to everybody who brings something to us to experience the spirituality, the depth that can be done in just an hour or an hour and 10 minutes time or whatever it is that we manage it. Thank you. I have a reading from a little book. This is the second edition. It was originally published in 1887 and republished. The version I have is 1893. It was popular and sent around the world as well. It's called Uplifts of Heart and Will. It is kind of like one minister's approach to a Unitarian meditation manual. Unitarian Universalist Meditation Manual, James H. West, minister of the Geneva congregation, which he doesn't say where Geneva is, but the Geneva that I know of that would have accepted these words would have been Geneva, Illinois. And so to put it in context of why I know that, it's because a lot of Unitarian Universalist ministers who went to the West, or what we would call the Midwest now, and the Western Unitarian Conference, learned that they had a lot more freedom than the people around Boston had in what they could preach. And so James West has written this, this is number 10 in his book, and he's got a word in there that I didn't really know, and so I'm going to read from excerpt from Merriam-Webster. What is sublimate? Sublimate, psychologically, is to change the outlet or means of one's expression of desires and feelings from something more culturally to something more culturally or socially acceptable. A person might sublimate feelings of grief following a disaster, for example, by devoting their time and energy to relief efforts. The word sublimate comes from the Latin verb sublimare, meaning to elevate. Sublimare is also the ancestor of sublime. Sublimate itself once meant to elevate to a place of dignity or honor, or to give a more elevated character to, but these meanings are now obsolete. So now I'll read this reading, and tell me if you can think that in the 1880s, this language would have been heard in anything but a Unitarian Universalist congregation for its lack entirely of the God word, or the Jesus word, or the Spirit word in its very poetic workarounds. The sunlight calls us to gladness. The spirit of life throbs all about us. In its glow, the worlds resolve. Under its influence, the trees and flowers bud and bloom. Through its ceaseless outpouring, our own hearts pulsate with joy and goodwill, with faith and hope and trust. Shone on thus by the ever-present beauty, may we believe life good and live it well. May we work also for the future of earth and for our world fellows to be. And may we not fear to dream of our own future. The rather may we deem it sure, whatever it shall prove in the detail, which now we cannot grasp. Above all, may we feel that, whatever it shall be, we ourselves now are helping to make it, are making it. May we be confident that an approach to the possibility of higher and purer joys than earthbound passion-led beings ever knew is to be attained here or elsewhere or anywhere only by the overcoming on our part of the evil that is in here in our offspring of the earth on sublimated forces. As far as may be, may we take these forces wisely in hand and sublimate them even now, turning chaos and old darkness into helpfulness and light. May we study how we may do this, and may we ever have hope, courage to encourage, trusting never in any miraculous aid from without, nor ever in any magic formula, but seeking that we might find, and knocking that it may be opened to us. May we live to help others also, turning many to a better way. Spiritual but not religious. You know, the statistics in American surveys, and indeed in the world, but especially in American surveys, is the biggest rising chunk of people in the country are answering a question, none of the above, when asked, what religion are you? But in fact, most of them, if you ask them, would say, well, I'm spiritual. I have a sense of something that helps feed me, that reassures me, that guides me. Spiritual but not religious. And the problem with that phrase that I see is the word religious based on the base word religio, to bind. And for a lot of folks in this room and folks out in society who check none of the above, for whatever reason, their experience of a religious institution or the way in which their parents were homeschooling it, religion was binding, as if their feet were bound in chains, as if their hands and wrists were bound together, as if their very thoughts were nailed down and unable to be free. Well, of course we would rather be spiritual than religious if that's the understanding of binding. But I've told here the religio idea that I have, and that is that an individual pencil could be broken easily, but that by binding together many, it becomes, well, maybe not impossible, but very difficult to get a whole handful of pencils and break them. This is what I think about religio or religion, that it's all of us fragile spiritual beings floating through this world or trudging through this world, all of us needing to bind up with someone else, knowing we are not alone, and also for us to tell someone, I am here, I am with you. By doing that, having a sense in which we are spiritual and religious, not spiritual or religious. Now, over time, people have stretched the meanings of what is acceptable in religion. That's why I went back to this James West old book with its cracking binding. There was a moment in American history in which religious leaders were trying to encourage new ways of thinking. And in our world, it became known as transcendentalism. And in that case, there was a lot of talking about nature. Now, I like everything is holy now, you were singing. I love the sense of the beauty of nature that comes from Mary Oliver's poems. I'll include one that's in the back of our hymn book. I love the sense myself of trudging through the woods or laying down in the sunlight. Maybe for you, it's laying on a beach and listening to the waves, or what do you do with all the flowers about you in your garden? The challenges of those who are trying to find ways of grounding were that the preachers of the time were preventing the sense of being connected to what was out there in all its beauty and joy. when I was studying for Unitarian Universalist ministry, one of the things that was a requirement in our Arts of Ministry class was the sense of Emerson's essay to the Divinity School. Speaking to the Divinity School, now there are people in this room who will remember the date. I don't. If you quizzed me now, I'd fail being a, what was it, Gene? 1838, Ralph Waldo Emerson preaches to the Divinity School at Harvard and their graduating class and telling them basically, don't be like the Unitarian preachers that are out there. I went to a church on Sunday and I could not tell if that minister was real. The snowstorm through the window was more real because I wasn't getting any human experience through what was said. We had to study that from the very beginning. The prayer of Emerson at Cambridge, we're told, had no pronouns in it. This is by J.C. Learned in The Future of Religion. They were thinking ahead. Where is religion going? By talking about spirituality in a new way. Had no pronouns in it. Was it then not a prayer? If anything hereafter is to be recognized and valid and uplifting, it is the expression of reverential thought. Partially we have interpreted human experience and missed the divine if we have not seen that in the conflict with self, which speaks in solo, in that struggle with things or affairs which break forth in earnest meditation, as well in that recognition of the God of theology, which urges every petition with its imploring vow alike. The distinction between the me and the not me is the unsolved problem of philosophy. Now, that's just a long roundabout way of saying, figure this out, human beings. Figure it out anew. We're not getting enough of it. Mary Oliver was born 1935 and died in 2019. American poet who won the Pulitzer Prize in 1984, the National Book Award in 1992. And from Wikipedia, it says she found inspiration for her work in nature and had a lifelong habit of solitary walks in the wild. Her poetry is characterized by wonderment at the natural environment, vivid imagery, and unadorned language. In 2007, she was declared the best-selling poet in the United States. It was the Unitarian Universalist Beacon Press that was publishing her poems. Here's one, and it's in our hymn book. Every morning the world is created. Under the orange sticks of the sun, the heaped ashes of the night turned into leaves again and fasten themselves to the high branches. And the ponds appear like black cloth on which are painted islands of summer lilies. If it is your nature to be happy, you will swim along the soft trails for hours, your imagination alighting everywhere. And if your spirit carries within it the thorn that is heavier than lead, if it's all you can do to keep on trudging, there is still somewhere deep within you a beast shouting that the earth is exactly what it wanted. Each pond with its blazing lilies is a prayer heard and answered lavishly every morning, whether or not you have ever dared to be happy, whether or not you have ever dared to pray. I soak in those words. When I'm on my walks through the dirt road and the overhanging trees and seeing nature around me and feeling the breeze, imagining Mary Oliver doing the same, imagining the transcendentalists of old, the rebels among all of you who have taken time away from church on a Sunday morning to actually worship out in nature, or at a Brevard Music Center concert that sweeps your spirit away, or speaks to the depth of the angst in your life. These things are spiritual. And if you're doing it with others and knowing I am not alone, and if you're doing this with others that you might then engage with others to help them on their way, I am here, then perhaps you have heard from the tiniest God, tiny, and you have understood the way to transmute those things which don't quite make it in your life into turning it into something that is uplifting for yourself and for others. The spiritual, the prayer that is a verb, that is an action. For what you bring to word and speak aloud may also bring into reality of the way you walk in your life. There are limitations to prayer. From the Jewish perspective, Abraham Joshua Heschel, who was a Polish-American rabbi and a Jewish theologian in the 20th century, born 1907, said it this way: prayer invites, and he did use the G word, not all do, they might do G-D or something like that, but prayer invites God to be present in our spirits and our lives. Prayer cannot bring water to a parched land, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. May you, whether it is a prayer to Tiny, the tiniest of gods, only on a breeze, or the lilies on the pond, wherever you are indeed meditating or praying, may it do something for your arid soul, your broken heart, your weakened will. May whatever words you use for what is holy, may whatever archaic understandings of the word sublimate may mean to you, may it be uplifting to your heart and will. May you be spiritual and religious, for that is indeed the combination of I am not alone and I am here. Thank you. We end our hymn singing with number 86, Blessed Spirit of My Life, which is in itself a prayer. I invite you to rise and sing as you're willing and able. Blessed Spirit of my life, give me strength through stress and strife. Help me live with dignity, grant me no serenity. Fill me with a vision, clear my mind of fear and confusion. When my thoughts flow restlessly, We read at the beginning that it is not the flame that we focus on, but knowing that there is oil and a cotton wick and a match and oxygen as a metaphor for all of us together having some element of what it takes to have that spark and that light that guides us. May you remember that as you go forth. May it be with you on the breeze. May you know you're not alone and that you are here.